Give us some of your reflections on this day, which, again, so many of us can recall just like it was yesterday.
It's impacted so many lives, especially in the New York, New Jersey area. And outside of the 2,700 people who died that day, another 5,000 have died so far, and almost 30,000 have cancer-related illnesses. It's a very tough situation down here. It's still the 22nd anniversary, but the wounds are very raw here. And about this time, 4 planes took off within just a few minutes of each other, 2 from Logan, 1 from Newark, 1 from Dulles. And if Dulles wasn't delayed, they may have, if Flight 93 wasn't delayed out of Newark Airport 40 minutes, the White House may have been hit first, or the Capitol. So it's very moving. The ceremonies are going to start up here. Mayor Giuliani will be down here. Biden is noticeably absent. Kamala Harris will be here in his place.
That pause makes the point. Not a lot of anticipation, I guess, for her coming.
Tera Dahl, this is David Brody in D.C. I don't know if you can hear me, but I am curious, and David, take over if she can't, but I'm curious to get your recollections that day and what the scene is there behind you right now.
Yeah, it's just a somber day here, and we are on hollow ground in New York. And 9/11 forever reshaped American domestic and foreign policy. David, you had mentioned how it was the creation of the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11 and the Patriot Act. We forever have seen changes in our civil liberties, in our foreign policy, and I think it's a time to reflect on, are we freer today than 22 years ago? Are we safer today than we were 22 years ago? And have the families received the justice for the lives that they lost on this horrible day?
Yeah, and I would just add that there's a 25-year history, pre-9/11 and post-9/11, of terrorist attacks in New York City. The first attempt, February 26, 1993. But that started with the plot to kidnap Al D'Amato's daughter and blow up 13 synagogues. And Ramzi Youssef was sent here by his uncle, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, to get them to blow up the World Trade Center. And they parked it in the wrong garage, the rental truck, and that's why there wasn't more deaths on February 26th. And just remember, 3 months later, less than 3 months, Sheikh Rahman was caught mixing the uric acid, ammonium nitrate diesel fertilizer bombs in a Midtown warehouse to blow up FBI headquarters, the UN, the St. Regis Hotel, the George Washington Bridge, the Midtown Tunnel, the Holland Tunnel, and other targets, along with the United Nations. So this is a long history of attacks, and this is a long time coming, and our intelligence efforts weren't the same at the time, and there were a lot of missed opportunities because of gaps in communication, and there was no specific credible threat, even though we knew flight schools were training some potential terrorists in the United States.
David, run us through a quick timeline of the events of 22 years ago today. A lot of people that are alive today weren't even around then, so remind us, if you will.
Well, the events that led up to 9/11, the Al Farouk Mosque and the Solemn Mosque in Jersey City, Al Farouk Mosque in Brooklyn, was a breeding ground for terrorism. And when the blind sheikh came here, after he was thrown out of Egypt for being accused of killing Anwar Sadat or issuing the fatwas that killed Anwar Sadat after the Camp David Accords, the Middle East peace agreement between Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat. Anwar Sadat was assassinated, and he fled to Afghanistan. And Zawahiri went to Pakistan from Egypt. And that led to a chain of events where, under a Sudanese visa, Sheikh Rahman came here. He took over the Al Farouk Mosque, the Manhattan Mosque, and the Jersey City Mosque, and they basically planned with Mohammed Abu Halima and Mahmoud Salameh the first Trade Center attack. And when Ramzi Youssef was arrested after fleeing the United States in the Philippines. He was planning on killing Bill Clinton, the Pope, and bombing and taking down 11 trans-Pacific airliners. And he tested the bombs out on a Filipino air flight. He blew a Japanese businessman almost through the roof of a plane, and all those events led to him being captured after a fire in his apartment, and he was extradited to the U.S., and he pointed to Manhattan, to the towers, when he was in a Black Hawk helicopter and said, "We're coming for you again for the towers."